Test. Okay. All right. So real quick, looks like we're looking at like an open auction so far. We're getting two-way tape on the S&P 500, but we're getting open drive lower on the NQ. Yesterday, the S&P 500 was the weaker one. So it seems to be that we're just doing more rotation. Just from a top-down view, we have Apple that's leading with Broadcom and Meta. And since the open, it's really been the chips, Google, and Meta that's been getting smoked. So I guess more the AI names. I guess I don't know if Google will fall under the AI or not. But we're getting ready to be 10 minutes in. As of right now, buy card is off the table. Outside of maybe like a quicker scalp or some shit. Checking in with some of these other products. Pretty quiet. Pretty quiet. Not unexpected. All right, that's four red candles in a row for Nasdaq. Some control selling, and you got some aggressive buyers that are this guy at 81. No reward for his effort so far. Higher time frame is still green within this green section under this prior week PLC for the ES. Nasdaq is going through it, still selling chips. ES is doing a hell of a good job holding. I was getting really close to buying that. I'm definitely glad I didn't. I don't see any kind of news. That was overnight low though for the NQ. Overnight low is 35 for ES. Go ahead and let this 15-minute candle end. pretty bearish for NQ. So as of right now, we got an open test drive lower for ES, open drive lower for NQ. We got both directional. I haven't seen anything that changes the tape for the buyers as of right now. Sellers are doing well. Sellers needs to keep the price under that 50% line. That initial balance midpoint. A lot of aggressive selling. Alright, do another checkpoint.
Just a quick spot check across the markets after the US equity open. We've seen quite a mixed open, but just seeing a bit more pressure now in the ES and the Nasdaq. Russell is still green, however, but currently off the post-open highs. Sectors predominantly firmer, with energy and industrials and utilities leading the gains, while technology does underperform. Energy buoyed higher behind crude prices today, while industrials are firmer after Trump touted boosting the 2027 defence budget to 1.5 trillion from 1 trillion. T-notes, they are lower with yields firmer across the curve, following the low jobless claims print, strong productivity. Also, we did see the Revelio Labs payrolls data also strong, up 71k, versus the around 54k consensus for NFP tomorrow. In FX, dollar is leading the gains
I
alongside
expect to
CADs,
get
while
ran over
antipodes
for a
are
bit,
the
so that's we're just doing
underperformers in
one
FX
contract.
today as metals do
Overnight
decline.
low is below at 35. No surprise if we get smoke out of there. We're just gonna take our time with this. I do see how NQ seem to have possibly found some buyers. It's coming from Apple, Tesla. I'm in no rush to add in another contract here, given that the buy card was off the table, but what changed, what brought us down, is possibly starting to change. And we'll see if that holds. I haven't seen any real gaps. Do see lower volume. Maybe I was looking away. But these 45s wouldn't be a bad idea to transact at. And we do have a wider IB so far at 22 points. And what is this, 200 points for NQ? A little more than 200 points. So low volume node here, you would imagine this will find its way back to VPOC pretty quickly. Really same situation here with this high volume node for NQ, which is, looks like at these 70s, 80s. So that's that midpoint that we were just talking about a while ago. I do need to protect myself. I'll put this at this overnight low. Now 50 is where we would 50, 52, 50, but we'll see if this backfill
breach.
Gold looks like it broke that level. They did. Yeah. So what does that mean for silver? Okay. You know, they haven't made it back to those 50s, but ideally buying somewhere in these 47s wouldn't be a bad idea. But looks like, you know, sellers and buyers may not get an opportunity to transact under these 50s. Again, if so, I mean, hey, more power to it. NQ reclaimed their overnight low, but we'll see if there's any kind of retracement.
Order filled.
So I'm gonna go ahead and get out of that, at least for right now. Definitely is a change of character, but you know, this was just a quick scout from here to there. This is not like a long-term hold. I do want to see if we can possibly reload if it does come back down. If it doesn't, you know, whatever. I'm not gonna trip on it. But that was just a move from that low point. That was a healthier looking move. Everyone participated besides healthcare. But healthcare was the leader for the day yesterday. And this is why it's important for us to start off with two contracts, even if this is especially since our risk was so low. Had a little bit of a little slippage there, and they backfilled that pretty quickly. I'm just checking where we are with that. Okay, checking in on gold. I have not paid much attention to RTY today, and oof, joke's on me. Boom, boom, boom. Straight markup. Mm, didn't, wasn't paying attention. All right, that's 5 minutes. Again, that IB mid is going to be important. That's at the 49. 45s will be that third level.
So we're next up in 10 minutes time at the top of the hour. We'll be on the lookout for the US wholesale inventories data for October, expected at 0.2% from the prior 0.5%. Do you know it also set to be getting some more remarks from Fed Governor Myron as well, but of course did speak earlier on Bloomberg. He did note that in his view they are still well above a neutral level, or is still clearly restrictive, and he does see 150 basis points, or he would like to see 150 basis points of rate cuts this year.
Very similar to yesterday when they were at these highs. Low volume, they kind of push back up, but we'll see if this is going to be retraced. Clearly, we have NQ that's slipping a bit lower. Healthcare taking a bit of a dip as well. I think I have my opportunity right there. Yeah, I was right at the 50 mark. This will be a situation where I add right there, but I'm not going to. Again, we reached the open, sold off. These guys are still under their overnight low. This is a little different situation. If they were maybe up above their IB mid, it'd definitely be a possibility. But I'm not too worried about this one. But I do see that they dug into this LVN, couldn't extend it lower. But yeah, this back half is definitely much stronger than yesterday. That's for sure. RTY is still doing its thing. All right, we got two more bars to end in this bracket. We're still looking at an open auction. Again, it's the main reason that we ended up taking profit. So just a buy up here will kind of go against what we're seeing, what we've seen so far. It definitely may extend, but we'll allow the market to extend and see what happens from there. As of right now, NQ is bear flagging. Be difficult for me when the main cog, the primary cog for the S&P 500 is showing um, weakness in accepting price, consolidating under the overnight low after open drive away from the overnight high. This definitely doesn't mean that we're going to see lower prices, but yeah, just yeah, that we're gonna pass on. Ideally, I would say to go short, but I pass. This is a much different posture than yesterday, where the strength was flipped essentially. If anything, we need to be keeping an eye on gold, which broke out and just consolidated in there, and silver, which hasn't really done much since then. Still just kind of consolidating themselves. Again, 45 on the ES. Bottom of that LVN is where we're kind of looking more. We don't have any 7 a.m. data today, but essentially letting these guys get out here, these sellers, giving these guys an opportunity for a small loss. Other than that, I'm not too in a rush to see put on any kind of risk at this point. It's open auction, and we have selling on the NQ, which you would assume be good to sell there, but just a little hesitant, a little hesitant there, because as of right now, the only one selling off is Nvidia or just the chips. So once they kind of get their stuff together, then they should move pretty well back to the upside. But that's just not happening right now. So we wait for more information, and I'll hit a checkpoint 657 to see how we move from here. And this is where it gets a little bit difficult, from my understanding, seeing how NQ is a bit weak here, threatening a new low. ES comes down, it's immediately bought up. Those 50s, now 52s, 52s backfilled. Those 50s are still open. All right, I'm just closing my eyes for a moment. Alright.
Just under a minute now to look out for the wholesale inventories data. Expected at 0.2%.
Could have sworn there was no data today. Mm-hmm. Those 50s appear to have filled.
10 seconds. In line with expectations. Wholesale inventories coming at 0.2% in line with expectations. Wholesale trade sales are down 0.4%.
Damn, I meant to get the. I put that in a little late. But that's around that area I was looking to buy. It's about where I would have got in anyway, so I would have waited for that backfill. Still more selling from the tech side, and we still got healthcare. They're showing some weakness as well. NQ flirting, tapping new lows. Notice ES isn't lifting as they were earlier. We're really struggling at this point. Though we're going to get it some time, we still understand the situation that we're in. The 46, the backfills. Tech still making new lows. That was finance that joined in on that seller. Seller's appearing again. Some weak volume going up on the ES side. I don't like the way this looks. Hmm. Finance, switchback green again. This is just more tech, specifically K and Y. Alright, there's a gap. It's 49.25. I mean, I'll try. Really shouldn't find its way back, but we'll give it an opportunity. Below those 46s.
Just for the Mexican peso watchers, just acknowledging the Banksco meeting minutes from December, some board members expected economic activity to remain weak in Q4. Most found that long-term inflation expectations continue to be relatively stable, according to the Banksco's recent minutes from December meeting.
I'm dropping this as a limit. Under that box, it's 43.
Just for VOW3GY and QCOM, Volkswagen and Qualcomm have signed a letter of intent to power next-generation driving experiences, including some high-performance system-on-chips for advanced infotainment capabilities within Volkswagen's cars. And under the agreement, Qualcomm would serve as VW's primary tech provider for the launch of its zonal SDV architecture.
This really shouldn't come back. Really to break even, just to be perfectly honest. But we haven't had any kind of consolidation yet. No price acceptance, that was just a push higher. So again, no surprise. Gold looks like they pushed out, yeah. A lot of buyers up here on the Delta. I'm not selling right now, given the fact that we tried to go lower, but we can't. Had two opportunities and it's pushing higher, and we have technology that's somewhat holding. This open is at 53. I mean, I wouldn't want to see this come back to that VPOC, but it's definitely possible. I'm going to give this a little bit more of an opportunity because, I mean, ES has been fairly sturdy today.
Just of note, potentially for alcoholic beverage makers, according to Reuters, Trump administration dismissed health officials who wanted to tighten alcohol guidelines, according to sources and a document cited by the Newswire.
Welcome to pricesquawk.
All right. open auction. Hit a support zone, potential support zone. Pushed up, made a new high with aggression. Now I just need to see if this holds. It's definitely can come back. Gonna be a bit patient with this, because again, it's the S&P 500 who has been the breath is really well today on this move up. The only down was the industrials. All right, I'm taking a break.
Just of note for InPost, Bloomberg has reported that buyout firm Advent in talks to team up with InPost's founder and Czech investment firm PPF on a potential buyout of the logistics company, according to sources cited by Bloomberg. just of note for healthcare names, the US House Ways and Means panel has invited 5 of the largest US health insurance companies to a hearing on the 22nd of January. And just note, there will be a briefing at the White House, 1 p.m. Eastern Time, which is 6 p.m. in London. As the White House Press Secretary Leavitt and Vice President Vance are set to give a briefing, 1 p.m. Eastern. So we have around 10 minutes now to the bottom of the hour, and we are due to get the weekly EIA nat gas storage change data. Consensus looks for a draw of 118 BCF.
I would like to make a note of and at least talk it through. So we're almost at the the end of this bracket here, and ES has had a consolidated range above the initial balance high. It doesn't call for me to get out at this moment, but I do notice how finance, healthcare, industrials have taken a break, but technology really has. KYC has really, stepped up their game. They're now above the overnight low. So I mean, this isn't like they're not above the initial balance midpoint or anything like that yet. They're even starting to sell off now. But the point is that money appears to be like rotating, and to be mindful that if we are rotating, it may be more of like a range bound market. But I'm willing to um, hold in this sense. But what I'm not willing to do is to take a loss on this and go past um, below this initial balance midpoint because we pushed up. There's no reason we should push up on this side, consolidate, break through, and find continuation lower. So at this point, I'm gonna put my stop at break even. I'm not sure if there's any news or anything. 800 lots here just got stuffed. Passive seller. We are almost at the end of this bracket. I don't see anything that really stood out there. So okay, sure. There's been a lot of buying for sure in this. Yeah, even more delta in the past 15 minutes in the last one.
It's around a minute now till we get the weekly EIA nat gas storage change. Expectation is for a draw of 118 BCF.
I need to see if I can take that beeping off. Feedback sounds. Alright, I got it turned off. So yeah, it was definitely interesting to see how this bracket is playing out. But I still believe the best bet would be to hold since money appears to be rotating out of energy, industrials, and healthcare into the tech names, which is the primary cog for the
10
S&P
seconds.
500. So again, I'm fine with number one taking over as they should.
It's a draw of 119 BCF. Draw 119. EIA nat gas storage change.
But of course, for the sorry, I have to mute that. But for the best exposure, it'd be best to do Nasdaq specifically. So I think the wise, the most the best trade management would be to maybe sell the S&P 500 up here and then look to buy in the Q. But I wouldn't do that because they're still right at their overnight low, whereas ES is at their initial balance high point. So since 7:30, we'll check here to see the health of this move. And again, we were just saying that if we were long as a breakout, we would have been profitable in this field here. So I know some other people are feeling this for sure, and we can even see that on the let's do the 10K chart. These guys here. So yeah, just a thought. Wouldn't be a bad idea to possibly add at that initial balance high, but I'm gonna hold off. What's up with all these sellers here? All right, we'll put these bubbles back on hold. I have not, I have not checked volume though. Okay, volume appears to be picking up for sure. We're already at half a mil, so we've done what, like 350? 350 since the open. $315, which is about how we were on Monday. The first Monday of the year. And then on that move up, yeah, that was a strange bit of a move. Push lower. So I was looking at the sectors more in this area. I guess I'll have some fun with I don't think I have my epic pen on. Let me put this back on 3 minutes. My apologies, brain.
Folks, relatively in keeping with some reports that we had a bit earlier, Venezuela is actively cooperating with the US on plan to export oil, according to the Financial Times.
All right. So I was looking more in this direction here. That's 2. Okay. So yeah, I was looking more in this area here. Make that a little bigger. So yeah, I was looking more in this area. Ooh, do I have the delay? I'm looking at my stream deck. Oh, I can just clear it like this. Alright, so like I was saying, I was looking more of here during that move down and then that push back up. Really didn't see much. I think I could be looking here to see if there was any major players, at least at this point. Looking here as we're pushing back into this 5 smooth moving average. I think it's important for us to realize. Let me close that. Okay. Because even if this does collapse, looking back at that open, and then you still have another, essentially another rotation. Definitely old me would keep this all the way until taking a loss, but there's really no point in this. I still think that maybe the best idea would have been to buy here up in these areas when we saw that, hey, things are changing on this side here, and not waiting until we see it in price at that point. Because then that's when you get a little bit of a heartache and it's like, dang, should I add? But the reason that I'm not worried too much is that we have the open, both VWAPs, and then that'll also should be, yeah, that 50% as well. So just a nice little area, and that would be where I really should be thinking to possibly add. But as I just mentioned, with everything else, a little hesitant when actually it's just tech again on this move lower, and of that tech, that's just everyone outside of Apple specifically. So I mean, this wouldn't be a bad place to possibly add, but I would like to see the open actually hit. That'd be at 53. And we're still in this 1 minute candle. $25s for NQ. Okay, that's about to open. NQ hit the 25, but they didn't clear it. And we're still at the end of the candle, so we want to be mindful of when we're entering. We should see a move lower. And then we want to see it come back to like the 53s or like that, 54 exactly. And then I don't need to put a bid in, I need to actually mark it in. Still got 30 seconds for this candle. Because again, this 3 minute candle is still fairly red and this is fine. While we're waiting, KC and I. Alright, this shouldn't be the end of that 3 minute candle. I believe, excuse me, and I believe this is where I'm having a little bit of holdups, and definitely in the past I've been not necessarily kicking myself, but you know, just wasting mental capital of asking why didn't I buy it? Had the right idea, but I think what I was wanting to see was too perfect, and that's me being focusing specifically on price, a specific price, opposed to an actual zone. So what helped me earlier was simply me drawing that square earlier. You know, if I remove this zone, go back to my tools. So having this here, oh, I actually have an arrow. I'm tripping. But yeah, having this here would have been helpful. Say, hey, it's in here. Fuck it, it's leaving. You know, let's do what we need to. That's basically what ended up happening here. So you know, definitely a little slow on that. But we did push to through the initial balance high. So I'm curious to see what happens at this point. But definitely that little place I was talking about to add definitely would be the best place. So really under here, I want to have my stop somewhere under that point. But I can look at the 10K volume and figure out where I want to put that because I'm entered at what 48 half, which doesn't really matter where I'm at. So under here, this is when I would actually do a break even because we consolidated.
For PG Procter & Gamble, the Texas AG has struck a agreement with the consumer company over the depiction of Crest toothpaste in marketing and packaging.
Right. Because we've actually pushed down and say there's no reason we should come back up here. So yeah, you know, 4 points. I'm not tripping, but it's the fact that this makes sense from a structural standpoint. And you had to ask, okay, well, what was your trade? What was the trade idea? Well, main trade idea is that for the week, you know, we have you know pushed up to start the week and keep having this push up fail push up fail push up fail even to yesterday. But you know, even through all that, you know, we're at the 62%, that third level for the week. So I'd imagine this would be another you know, I don't have the opportunity to swing on this account, but this would be a swing attempt to really go at all-time highs for the most part. But you know, I'm not trading this as so at the moment. I'm just ideally going just holding to see if we can at least get this overnight high. I would imagine that would be the case especially with all these buyers, working hard. And notice we have the sellers that came in here, one, two, three, these different areas, and prices closing, above them, or at least it was a while ago. So I mean, I'm looking. I don't think there's like any news or anything, but make sure that we're protecting ourselves. And then since I'm here, I'll go ahead and do one more quick note. So again, since 7:30, the difference from these different products here. Again, 7:30 was about there. Pushed lower, pushed higher, and now we're kind of consolidating. ES ended up breaking lower as well and pushed up just the same. But they're looking at a bull flag now, opposed to the bear flag that they were sitting at earlier. So it's good to see that change in character, and it be protected on both sides, especially in an area that should be support, in an area that
And
should be
Total
support,
Energies
an
Capital
area that
USA
should be
has filed for
support.
an offering of $3.5 billion worth of three-part guaranteed notes. It's according to a filing.
Ideally, the target being up here at this overnight high. But given the situation of the past few days, and more specifically, this is the week. So again, push up, fail, push up, held, fail, push up, and then a big fail, which leads us to where we are now. Which I would imagine we're going to find our way, push up here, and then try to find our way back in this range around the 80s or the 90s, just to somewhat get back to for the week, back in this zone, which is what I have, this high volume node. And then we have singles right above us as well, which makes it, let's say, attractive for the buyers, or not attractive for the buyers, but yeah. I mean, that would be a target. That would be a target for them. And then I do have a little more confidence with how this is going, given the weakness that we're
For
seeing
PUMGY
in Q.
Puma, China's Anta Sports has offered to buy Pinot family's
ES is flip
29%
green,
stake in Puma, according to sources cited by Reuters.
but I don't care for the sluggishness that we're seeing here again. And there's a bit of tempo change in this range right here. Time is speeding up. The 15-minute candle. I see. The time should be somewhere in there. Okay. And I will say that we just talked about this, a little earlier. So you have the same thing with like pattern recognition. Like, okay, I saw this earlier. Um, it would make sense for me to get out of this when I'm seeing that same weakness that we saw earlier with what was finance. Actually, I have a highlighter with finance. We're seeing the same thing with industrials and now utilities, who was the weaker one yesterday. But seeing the same thing happen twice back to back, I feel like doesn't happen too much. Just knowing my product. So I really feel like I should buy this, but I'm not seeing anything on the tape. 55. Alright, it's gonna be that minute candle.
Order filled.
Oh wow, my stop ended up being. Oh no, never mind. My stop is just above, just below that open. So definitely an uncomfortable ad. But yeah, someone was definitely selling the shit out of these, in a passive way. So more aggressive would be buying that as well. But it definitely took a good bit out of me. So this is a situation where you have two big down bars and it's caught. The reaction should be to go higher if we're gonna continue. If this does come lower, I will happily step out of the way and look to reposition if needed. But I would assume we hit this high primarily due to the sellers not being extremely aggressive. Buyers are willing to keep pushing. We don't have sellers willing to keep it lower. So the structure of higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, but they fail the higher high. And if they make a lower low, that would be the end of that trend.
Order filled.
I'm gonna go ahead and take off that one from earlier. I really didn't care for that response. I could have waited until the end of that bar, but yeah. 56.
We have around 10 minutes now to the top of the hour. At the top of the hour, we'll be on the lookout for the New York Fed survey of consumer expectations. Last time out, the median inflation expectations were unchanged at the one-year ahead horizon at 3.2%, and they were steady at 3% for both the 3 and 5-year horizons. We'll also be getting the Treasury announcement for next week's 3s, 10s and 30s supply.
It's my job to stay in this trade even though I feel uncomfortable. I'm
Order
going to
filled.
get out. I'm going to get out because this shouldn't happen. Any other session, this would have continued upwards, and we just kind of paused. If I was selling this here and we reached the initial balance initial balance high and consolidated, that would have had me th- that would have I would be on side. I would definitely be on side with all the other participants, especially the people that were passively selling this here. But I know that there's going to be or there. Let's say I not that I know, but it's a good opportunity. There's going to be a lot of stops up here. All right, I'm gonna go ahead. stop the recording for right here. Maybe resume once more. Got a lot of good notes.